So I think we can just start off with this NFL season preview by just going through the 53-man roster. That's all right with you, Lee.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Let's do it.
Okay, let's go for it. Let's start on the offense. We're in it with three quarterbacks making this team: Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, and Kyle Allen. John Reese Plumlee was cut.
Mhm.
Plumlee didn't see too much time as a quarterback.
Yeah.
He was actually a return man, so I was curious if he was going to get a job there as a returner. But it seems like they're going other ways there. But what are your thoughts on the quarterback position
Yeah,
and how it ended up?
it's definitely different from what it's been the past couple of years. We have a definitely new um, quarterback room. Just getting to see a little bit of the three guys in the preseason. You know, wasn't the best preseason for us. Again, going 0-3, but I think that it's going to be a very interesting quarterback room with those three. With Russell Wilson being named the starter, I think Justin Fields is going to be a good backup and definitely get some time to learn behind I think a future projected Hall of Famer in Russell Wilson, and just getting to see Kyle Allen in the preseason. He looked pretty decent as well. So I think we have a nice little quarterback room going forward here, at least for this year. So, we'll see how it goes. But, it'll be interesting to see how these three can kind of mesh together during the season.
Yeah, just for anyone that's been living under a rock this week, here's Tomlin announcing the new quarterback, or the starting quarterback there
Good
for this
afternoon.
year.
As I said this past weekend after the game, we had a decision coming at the end of our work week this week regarding the quarterback position. As I also said after the game, I just thought it was appropriate to do it at this time. I think that doing it earlier than this time would have put a de-emphasis on the work that we were able to get done out here from a developmental standpoint. But I also think it's the appropriate time because as we move into next week, we need to be singularly focused as a collective on the challenges of the week, which is obviously our opener in Atlanta in the division of labor and roles within it. I met with both quarterbacks here just a few minutes ago after practice, and I informed them that Russ is QB1 going into week one. It was a difficult decision, but not difficult in a negative way, to be quite honest with you. It was difficult in a positive way. The decision was difficult because of what they're capable of doing. Decision was difficult because of how they have conducted themselves, as opposed to the things that they fall short in terms of capabilities or negative conduct. Both guys have been really professional. I've been really excited about getting to know them and their games and having the ability to analyze what both are capable of bringing. Obviously, Russ's injury created some challenges in terms of that process, in terms of exposure to him. But in the same token, it created more opportunities and avenues to get to know Justin and for Justin to show what he's capable of. But not only Justin, Kyle Allen as well. Quickly in the process, we got comfortable with Kyle Allen's capabilities because, he wasn't running with the threes, if you will. And there's a significant difference in a training camp setting between second group reps and third group reps.
Yeah, that's Tomlin there. I think that was a good summary of what's going on there and everything. I think it's pretty clear, at least to me, that Russell Wilson was going to win this job unless something catastrophic happened
Yeah.
this training camp and
Yeah.
preseason, and it didn't happen. Russell didn't look spectacular, but he had a nice drive in the last preseason game, and everything
Yeah.
went the way we expected. I think both of us knew that Russell Wilson was going to win this job. Justin Fields, he didn't look awful, but he didn't steal the show. That's I think what he would have needed to do to grab this job.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, like you said, I think I honestly think from day one, from when they brought him in, that he was going to be the guy, going forward. But it'll be, like I said, it'll be a nice little change because, this is not like the quarterback room that we've had in the past. And so this will be very interesting to see what these three guys can do moving forward. So I'm excited to see how they, like I said, how they all mesh together and how things kind of move forward starting week one with this season coming up against Atlanta with these quarterbacks.
Yeah, so next up we got the running backs, and it pretty much went chalk here. Maybe some people would have thought that another guy would have got a job, but it ended up being Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, who's still dealing with what of an injury coming back from it, and Cordero Patterson. The 4 cuts at the end of this season were Michael Pirine, Jonathan Ward, Aaron Shamplin, and Dewan Edwards. I mean, Najee's going to get a lot of touches. I think we're going to see a lot of running. Cordero Patterson obviously has experience with Arthur Smith, so I think these 3 guys can be pretty productive for the team this year. How do you think it's going to go?
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think that if we can get like that nice little 2-man punch that we had with Najee and Warren, like we did last year, with them two, I think that they did phenomenal last year with their running game, and then adding Cordell Patterson. I think it's just going to be a nice little just mix up with those 3 in there. I think it'll be it'll be very interesting to see what type of formations they decide to kind of go with when they get Cordell Patterson in there. But I think that it'll be a nice. I think it'll be just like how it was last season if they can kind of continue that with Najee and Warren as well as the main 2 guys running. But I'm excited to see what Cordell Patterson can add to this team for the rushing.
Yeah, I expect him to play a lot in the 2-minute offense, a lot on 3rd down and longs. I think that's where he'll end up be playing Cordero Patterson there. The next spot up here is the receivers, and I think this is the one major flaw in this offense that you can look at other things. There's things to pick with quarterback position. I think even running back, you don't have an elite tier guy, but I think there's a good depth in that. But this receiving core, you got George Pickens, then it's Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin the third, Roman Wilson, and Scotty Miller. Wilson obviously coming off an injury. They cut Quez Watkins, Dez Fitzpatrick, Jeriah Jenkins, Deuce Watts, Jacob Copeland, and TJ Luther. I mean, obviously today, Brandon Ayuk resigned. The day of the meeting, August 29th is when we're recording this section of this. Brandon Ayuk re-signs with the 49ers. He's not going anywhere now. It doesn't look like there's a plan B either. It looks like we're going to go into this season with these 5 guys. What are your thoughts on this receiving core and what it'll have offer this season?
Yeah, it's disappointing that we couldn't have got like a nice little big time wide receiver, with everything, with all the different rumors and stuff that was going on during the trade, not the trade deadline. I'm sorry, the the draft, and then up until getting ready for the season to start. Just the fact that nothing kind of came of it is just a little disappointing. I think that this wide receiver core, you want to hope that they'll shine, but it'll be a little just disappointing just to kind of see that we don't have somebody big time out there. I think that it could be interesting with these guys. Hopefully that somebody can step up and kind of prove to be an elite wide receiver for this team. But I think that right now, if anything, I'd say that's probably probably the weakest spot that we do have right now for this roster.
Yeah, it's concerning if there's an injury to George Pickens. You're looking at Van Jefferson as your number 1 guy, and I just don't think they can survive as that. Van had a decent little flashes in the preseason, but the idea of him being your number 1 receiver going into the long stretch in this season, especially with the way the schedule plays out later on, it'll be tough to see. So I'm not very optimistic, I should say, with what's going to go on with these receiving core. Next up, though, we have a tight end position. They ended up keeping 4: Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, Connor Hayward, and Michael Pruitt. I think Pruitt's a guy that some people were going to say were on the bubble, but he ended up making the team. Rodney Williams and Matt Sokol were cut. I like this group. I think they all bring a little different thing to them. I think Connor Hayward is pretty underappreciated for what he can bring to this offense. I think he'll have a pretty solid role. There's no fullback on this roster, so he's going to play a lot of fullback. I know that Arthur Smith plays the fullback on his offenses and everything like that. So I think we're going to see a lot of Connor Hayward in the game, maybe even more than people expect. What are your thoughts on the tight ends? Fryermuth is a big year for him too. I think last year under contract.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a decent little group of guys for the tight end position for sure. I'm excited to see, how these guys can kind of get out there and make some plays. Like you said, it is a big year for Fryermuth. Hopefully, he can come out, no injuries and maybe have an elite year for himself and maybe even make a Pro Bowl. It'll be exciting to see these guys filling in as a fullback position as well, moving forward for this season at least. I think this is a decent little group of tight ends that we have, and I'm excited to see how they kind of play this season.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be spectacular. No one. Fryermuth has an outside shot of having a good season, like you're saying, and I could see him get to a Pro Bowl. It's not impossible to think. I know in Atlanta, at least, there was a lot of hype. They drafted a tight end really early in the draft, and a lot of hype going in, and he really didn't produce that well for the Falcons in the time when Arthur Smith was there. But I mean, maybe he was just a bust. Who knows? But next up, we got the offensive line. I'm just going to go through the names as we have it here. Broderick Jones, Isaac Seumalo, Zach Frazier, James Daniels, Dan Moore, Troy Fatanu, Mason McCormick, Spencer Anderson, and Ryan McCollum. That's listed there. 3 rookies that I think might get some decent time with definitely with Zach Frazier and Fatanu, and then Mason McCormick I think might actually get in there decently with news that Seumalo has a injury coming in as the season starts here. What are your thoughts on the line and any surprises or anything there? Any talk you want to go on there about?
Well, it's definitely a different line than it was from last year. A lot of the pieces that we had are now gone, or no longer on the team, and I'm hoping for a definite better offensive line for sure this year. Just from a lot of the snap issues that we had with some of the players and blocking and things like that, and I'm just hoping that with this new core of offensive linemen, I'm hoping, for better protection this year for our quarterbacks and definitely giving us some good blocking for the running and things like that. So I'm excited to see how these guys are going to play. It's definitely younger this year, and I think that's definitely a lot better for us. Again, disappointing with the injury that we do have already, but hopefully, full recovery soon, and we can see the main guys out there, the starters at who they're going to be, and just hoping for a decent offensive line this year, because we definitely need one for sure this year.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think this is the key group for this team. We're going to have to run the ball. I think Russ is going to need some play action going if he wants to hit some deep balls here, especially with the receiving core the way it is. He's going to need time back there to dissect the defense. Hopefully he gets that time. It was shaky with Broderick Jones at our right tackle, but they're going to shift him back over, hopefully, with Fatanu coming back in the play. So I'm cautiously optimistic about these guys just because they are young, but they do have some pedigree. They do have some expectations behind them. So hopefully they can gel together and we can have a pretty decent line going. So that's the offense there. That was so let's just I'll let you get one more take on the offense. What are you expecting from this team? How much you going to rely on them versus how much you rely on the defense here? What are your thoughts overall on this?
I'm hoping that this offense can score more points, because that's something that was on the decline the past couple of years, were points per game. I'm hoping that that our offense can definitely score. We have a lot of different, role players, a lot of different, even just players in general on this team. And I'm hoping that this offense can, at least put some points up and score. Again, the weakest part right now of the offense is going to be that wide receiver core. But hopefully some of these guys can step up and make some plays. So I'm hoping that we can at least increase our scoring for the offense this year.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to rely on this run game. I think we're gonna hope that Pickens and Wilson can get a connection early on. They made a nice pass in that last preseason game that I think there is a shot there. I mean, Wilson's had success with good receivers before, and I think he can have that again here with Pickens. He's the guy I think that can have a real breakout season. He's had good season so far as a player, but I think this year can be a real breakout season. He's got a veteran quarterback now. He's got things to learn, and I think they're going to be relying on him. He's going to see a lot more double teams, I think, just based off of what we have here. There's no Deontay Johnson on the other side. There's no, I guess Claypool wasn't that great with him, but just that alone, I think, is going to be a big deal for him. To just see he's going to see the best guy on the other team every game, and he might see coverage of the top. I think it'll be interesting to see what he does, but we're going to have to rely on Harris. We're going to have to rely on Warren once he gets back healthy, all at 100%. Cordero Patterson. And I think the run game's the key here, and hopefully they can get something. I just play calling alone without Matt Canada back there. I think that's the biggest addition to this is the addition by subtraction of Matt Canada.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So let's shift over to the defense. Well, we'll start with the outside linebackers. Only 3 on the roster, technically, with T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Nick Herbig. 3 guys that have been awesome. I think they're all starter worthy, and of course, T.J. Watt's MVP level. Alex Highsmith's been Pro Bowl level, and Herbig, he's shown promise in his rookie year and this preseason. I think he's one guy who's stood out. They did cut Kyron Johnson and Jacoby Windman. But what are your thoughts on this outside linebacker core?
Yeah, it's definitely probably one of the best in the league. And, we talked about this definitely too, Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt as the, the best duo outside linebackers that, are in the league right now. It's definitely great to see, or great to just have those 2 guys out there and just to see how they can perform together. Usually if, Alex Highsmith is not there, TJ's there, and if TJ's not there, Alex Highsmith's there. So, and then you add Nick Herbig, I think that it's just going to be a great, nice little core of linebackers for sure. And I'm just excited what these linebackers can do for this defense because that linebacker was something that was a little bit of an issue, for a lot of the running, definitely interior. But I think that these 3 guys can definitely help for the exterior part, for outside, linebacker position. So let's hope that they can stay, at that high level that they were last year for sure.
Yeah, I expect them to be the strength of the defense. I expect to get double-digit sacks from both Highsmith and Watt. Watt pushing 20 like he normally does. All about staying healthy there, and I like the idea of Herbig being there if one of these guys do fall into injury. Next up, we got the defensive linemen. We have Cameron Hayward, Larry Ogunjobi, Keanu Benton, Isaiah Loudermilk, Montravis Adams, Logan Lee, Dean Lowry, and DeMorvin Leal. I think this is a good group, a solid mix of young guys and old guys, vets and guys trying to make their way in the league. Leal actually has been spending a little bit of time on the outside also, just to make note. But I do like this group. I think there is some concerns about injuries with Hayward and Ogunjobi's getting up there in age too. Montravius Adams is up there in age. But I like these guys. I like Benton a lot. I want to see what he comes through with. But what are your thoughts on this defensive line group?
Yeah, it's definitely a mix of, like you said, older veterans and younger guys. And I think that, the younger guys can definitely learn from the older vets on the team. Like you said, there is concern for injury because some of these guys are, a little bit older as well. But hopefully, with the mix of, the youth and the veteran, there can be a nice little they can all mesh and definitely be a nice little combination when they're out there on the field. Hopefully, this core group can definitely help with stopping a lot of the interior running. I know that was a big problem last season. So hopefully, these guys can get in there, and maybe get some sacks and kind of hold the run when they're coming up the middle. But I do like this core group. I think that they're definitely going to do well this season. Is pretty decent as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at Benton as the guy to break out for sure on this line. There's been a lot of talk with Hayward about his contract and everything. He's back. He's in camp. He hasn't complained at all, I think, since preseason started, but it'll be fun to see if he can have another good year, and hopefully he can stay healthy. Next up, we got the inside linebackers. We got Patrick Queen, the big signing, Landon Roberts, Peyton Wilson, Tyler Medikevich, and Mark Robinson, who made the team. Two cuts were LaQuay Washington and Keva Tizino. We also have Cole Holcomb in the pup list. He should be coming back. I think the rule is that's at least after week 6. I could be wrong. I could be outdated on that. But what are your thoughts on these linebackers?
Yeah, it's definitely pretty decent. Again, especially with the signing of, Patrick Queen on the team. It'll be, again, that was another issue. There was a lot of injuries last year with the interior linebackers, and we were definitely going down in the depth. Hopefully these guys can stay healthy and, contribute again to that, stopping the running game up the middle there. But I think this is going to be a decent core of linebackers for sure. And I'm excited to see what these guys can bring to the defense.
Yeah, I mean, Queen is an elite guy. Roberts, I think, is very solid. Peyton Wilson, I mean, he looked great when he was healthy, but of course, that was the thing going on him is the health. He already has had a concussion this preseason, but I like those guys in the middle. I think it'll be interesting to see how it all gels, but I honestly do like what I'm seeing from the front seven here. Defensive line, maybe it's a little thin, but other than that, I think it's pretty solid. I expected them to be pretty solid against the pass. The running game, like you're saying, that is an issue there, but I'm ready to see what they got going on defensively in that front seven. Now we got cornerbacks here. They have 5 rostered. Joey Porter Jr., Dante Jackson, they got in the trade for Deontay Johnson, Corey Trice Jr., Darius Rush, and Beanie Bishop. They cut Thomas Graham Jr., Keandre Thompson, and Zion Gilbert. The other issue here is Cameron Sutton, who's been suspended by the league. He'll be back. I think it was 8 games, right? If I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, what are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, I think it's a decent, core group of cornerbacks. I'm excited to see what these guys can do. Again, hoping that these guys can stay healthy because the secondary, I mean, it was just that the whole defense, there was a lot of injuries last year, and just not having those guys out there healthy, I think it was just, you're calling guys up, from the bottom of the roster and then the practice squad and things like that, and then bringing new guys in. I think that it just made it a little bit difficult and harder for the defense to kind of, mesh and, stay together because it was just a lot of guys coming in because the defense was just injured. But I think if these guys can stay healthy, I think they can definitely be a decent core group of cornerbacks for sure. And, I'm looking forward to seeing Joey Porter Jr., stepping up, after his rookie year and kind of, doing, some more of what he was doing and, just kind of seeing, if he can become an elite cornerback in this league.
Yeah, he already he sees himself that way. Now he has the chance to prove it. He's going to be out there against the number ones all season, I think. And there's no reason to argue against what he thinks about himself. He thinks he's an elite guy. He thinks he can be the best corner in this league, and he proved himself last year to be a really quality rookie cornerback. I am concerned depth-wise. They have Beanie Bishop as the nickel rookie coming in and being the nickel right away. That'll be an interesting thing to see how well he can do out there. Maybe they're going to play a couple of these safeties a little more than we would expect in a normal defense. But naming those safeties, we got Minkah Fitzpatrick, Deshaun Elliott, DeMonte Casey, Miles Killebrew, and Jalen Elliott. That Kyler McMichael was cut, and then Ryan Watts is on the season-ending injured reserve. So those are our safeties right there. I think we got Minkah, who's obviously the stud of the group, and then a lot of guys that I think are going to play key roles either on defense or on special teams. So what are your thoughts on the safeties we got coming in?
Yeah, again, barring any injuries, I'm hoping that these guys can all stay healthy. Definitely Minkah is one of the best in the league, and I expect him to have a better breakout, season for him this year. Again, he had some injuries and things like that, and it wasn't his best year. So I'm thinking that he's going to kind of turn this season around and, hopefully stay healthy and have a great season. And I think that our safeties, again, can be pretty decent, a decent squad, with the group of them that we have. This core guys, you're just hoping that again they stay healthy and they can make plays because defense in the secondary definitely gave up a lot of passing yards last season, and kind of hoping that that can kind of turn around this season.
Yeah, I agree. I think health's the key. They got a lot of money invested in this defense, and with that money, you have to have produce, especially with the offense having some shakiness. They're not going to score a lot of points, I don't think. Maybe they get some lightning in the bottle with some of these guys. Russell Wilson can go back in time and be we can let him cook a little, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we're going to have to rely on this defense, and I hope and pray that there's health, like you're saying. I think the health is the key thing there. But we got 3 more spots to mention: the specialist, Chris Boswell, Cameron Johnston, and Christian Coons. I actually think all 3 guys are solid. I like what I saw from Johnson as a punter this preseason, and then Boswell's as solid as they come. Any final thoughts on this, the specialist here?
No, I think these guys are going to be a great little core, and bringing in a new punter, I think it's going to be, it's going to be great just to kind of see what the specialist can do. Chris Boswell is definitely one of the best, right now with kicking. So hopefully he can, stay that way this season, and hoping that our special team isn't giving up too many, crazy yards and plays, this season. So hopefully, everything is going well with this core group as well.
So that's the breakdown of the 53-man roster. That's 24 offensive players, 26 defensive players, and 3 specialists. I think, like we mentioned, the receiver spot for me is one that's a little shaky. Maybe the defensive line, they got good names there, but maybe it does need a little more depth, I guess. Cornerbacks, I think, need a little more depth. But those are the 3 spots for me that I think are going to make or break this team here. Overall, what are the positions that you think are most important coming into the season?
Yeah, definitely wide receiver, I think, is the weakest core right now. I don't know. Maybe, the Con the Don has something up his sleeve going on during the season. I don't know. I'm hoping that they can bring somebody in, especially with Cameron Sutton, sorry, having that suspension for half the season. I mean, that definitely doesn't help on defense. And, just again, health is the big thing for this defense and, the team in general. So I think that the wide receiver in the secondary are the 2 weaknesses, and hopefully that, some guys can step up the season and, not let, big plays go over their head on the defense, and maybe somebody can step on the offense and, be a big time player for what Russell Wilson or, Justin Fields or, however it's going to be, going on, for this season. So let's just hope for a good season, with these guys, and, maybe something will, come along the lines for the wide receiver core, and maybe even the secondary, as the season, progresses.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I get you for sure. That makes a lot of sense to me. All right, Lee, we went over who is going to be playing for the Steelers this year. So now let's talk about who the Steelers will be playing. Started off, let's just go right into it. We're going to predict each of these games, and we'll see how we look at the end of the year. We'll see how we see the team going this year. I think this is a better way to do it than to just go, okay, they're going to go 10-7. No, let's run through this schedule and tell me where you see these wins, where you see these losses.
All right.
So week
Sounds
1 is
good.
at the Falcons. How are you feeling about the Falcons week 1?
I think that this is going to be a win for us. They're bringing in a new quarterback, Kirk Cousins. Decent quarterback. You have our guy, Arthur Smith, who was the coach for them for the past couple of years. I think he knows a little bit of, their scheme and their game, and not in like a cheating way, but like just knows how they play. And I think that he's gonna, help us. This is like a revenge game for him. They let him go, and now we're playing them. So I think that this is going to be a week 1 win for the Steelers. I almost think it'll be a little bit it won't be like a blowout, but it'll be a little bit just like an average game. You know, I'm gonna go with like a 24-14 game, Steelers over the Falcons. That one.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm too scared to give predictions score wise, I think, but we'll do it for week 1 since we're not going to actually have a preview of this game more than what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
agree with you. It's the revenge game for Arthur Smith. I think that's important to mention. Your thoughts on the Cousins new quarterback, but you really didn't mention the fact that the Steelers got 2 new quarterbacks. We got Wilson as the starter. So it's going to be a question of which of these guys is able to mesh with his team first. I have not seen how much Cousins played this preseason. I would assume he didn't play much at all. But he's going to probably need some time to get to going with those receivers he's got there. I do think the Steelers defense is going to be strong enough to win this game. I'll project a 20-10 final for this game, but a win for the Steelers.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Next week is at the Broncos.
Yeah, I think this is another win. And again, it's another revenge game. You got Russell Wilson going back to Denver, the team that, you know, traded him or released him or whatever. And I think that he had a rough start, you know, with the Broncos. You know, of course, he had like a really big contract and stuff with them. And I just don't think he meshed well with Sean Payton. And, you know, they're going to be starting a rookie quarterback here for for the season for them as well. But again, this is a revenge game. And I think that Russell Wilson's going to come out and he's just going to let Denver know, like, hey, you know, I can still play. You guys didn't think I could do this. You know, there was a lot of animosity and whatever else was going on between him and the team. But I think he's going to come out and he's going to show Denver, you know, why he's still an elite quarterback. And it's going to be a win for the Steelers there week 2 as well.
Yeah, back-to-back revenge games. I'm with you again with this win here. I think this will be a one where Russell really wants to show out. I think it was just a bad matchup between the two. Hopefully that's the case, and hopefully it's not that Russell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his numbers were still great last year, but it's a lot of balls behind the line of scrimmage, a lot of balls within 5 yards. But I mean, 26-6. It's like weird where we're talking about not meshing.
Yeah,
you've got great numbers there. Like if Bo Nix goes 26-6, he's the offensive rookie of the year this season. That's just a fact. That's the way it would be. But once again, I think rookie quarterback against our defense should be healthy still. It's early in the season.
Yeah.
I'll get a win there. These next 2 games, I'll go first on the predictions. The first one, the Chargers. I'm going to put this as a first loss for the Steelers. I think it is a home game and it's a home opener, so that might play a role here. But I respect Jim Harbaugh as a coach. I think Herbert's a great quarterback. I know they haven't put it all together. A lot of people blame that on Staley. And he's gone, so there's no more excuses when we're talking about record-wise for the Chargers here. So I'm going to go Chargers as the first win, first loss for the Steelers this year.
Yeah, I hear you on all that. But I think with it being a home opener for the Steelers, I think they're going to let the crowd know that, you know, this is Pittsburgh and they're going to come out and win this game. I think they're going to start 3-0. I respect Jim Harbaugh as well, but the Chargers during this offseason have lost a lot of their players. A lot of different players are now on different teams, and I don't think they have the players that are going to match up well on their offense with our defense. So I think that our defense is going to outshine their offense, and we're going to have a 3-0 start for the Steelers here with that home opener against the Chargers.
Okay, and then next up is at the Colts. This game, I like the Steelers here. I think Steelers are lucking out in this situation because they've built a defense to stop Lamar Jackson, and I think Anthony Richardson is a lesser Lamar Jackson, a little bigger though, I guess. But I think it's a win here for the Steelers against the Colts.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is another win. You have what's his name, Richardson, Anthony Richardson coming in off of an injury for the first season as a rookie. This is going to be pretty much his first year starting, you know, after that injury. And I think that the Colts, you know, we played them last year and we didn't have the best game with them, but I think that this is going to be a better game for the Steelers. They're going to know what they dealt with last year, and that they're going to come out differently. And I think this is going to be another win for them, and they're going to be 4-0 at this point as well in the season.
4-0 start for the Steelers, but
Mhm.
then the Cowboys come into town. What are your thoughts on the Cowboys? I think you're a Cowboy hater, right?
Yeah, I'm not a fan. This could be where the Steelers lose their first game. The Cowboys, I don't think Dak Prescott is elite. There was that year the Cowboys came in when Dak was a rookie, Zeke was a rookie. We should have won that game. There was the whole fake spike. It was shades of Dan Marino. So we should have won that game. But it's at home. You have the Cowboys a little bit out of their element. This might be a close game, but I'm going to give it to the Steelers here. This could be the one they lose, but I'm going to give it to them.
5-0.
5-0 right here. Yeah, I'm going to do it.
I don't think the Steelers are going to win this game either. I mean, but starting 0-2 at home does give me like a little pause there. But I got a loss here against the Cowboys. I think that Cowboys got a pretty solid offense. They got a pretty solid D. I mean, they're going to be a contender this year, I believe. I don't know if I'm going to put them in the Super Bowl, but I see them as a team that's going to most likely win their division and play well throughout the season and get a win here in Pittsburgh. So next up, we have at the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm going to Steelers again here. They don't really have. They have a second-year coach coming in. I don't know really who the quarterback is right now for them. I'm not sure what's going on. I think Devontae Adams is not really happy with them. I could see him gone by this point of the season for them as well. Max Crosby is a very good defensive player, but I think that if we can get our offense clicking, I think that this could be a win for us. And the Steelers are 6-0 at this point.
Okay. I mean, that one I have no problem with. 6-0 start for the Steelers this season will be great. Raiders it's going to be a win. Do they have Minshew as a starter right now? I think
it might be. Yeah, it might be Gardner Minshew. Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, you might be right.
They have Aiden O'Connell there too, but I think his starts last year was more along the lines of not having anyone else to play and whatever they were doing with everything there since they took Derek Carr out of the starting lineup. It seems like it's been a little bit of a mess. Next up, we got the Jets. I'm thinking a lot of this will depend on whether or not Aaron Rodgers is healthy and whether he's able to sustain some success for them. If he's there, it's going to be a tough game. But my thing is, I think he's going to be hurt. So I'm going to give this a win, the Steelers against the Jets. And that's my prediction that Aaron Rodgers is once again out of the starting lineup.
Yeah, I don't, foresee the Steelers losing this game either. Again, I agree with you. It's going to depend on Aaron Rodgers' health. But even if he's still in, I don't see him beating the Steelers. I think that they're going to give him a run for his money, and the Steelers it's going to be crazy, but they'll be 7-0 at this point. It's going to be crazy, but they're going to be 7-0 right here. Yeah.
Next up. So now the way you're doing this, ready? We got the Giants up next. So you now you're going to be 8-0, right? That's how this is looking at.
Yeah, they're 8-0. They're 8-0 at this point. They are going to be 8-0 against the Giants. Daniel Jones is not doing anything against the Steelers defense. So that's all I got to say. They're going to be 8-0 right there. 8-0 at this point.
I think at this point, Daniel Jones may not even be the starter anymore. It's a make or break year for him. And if he starts off slow, I can see them taking him out. I think he's a starter in this league, though, so I wouldn't be surprised the other way either if he is able to show some stuff early on. But I got the Steelers in this game, too. Next up, the Washington Commanders. I'm going to go first on this one. I obviously one of these games that I have us at 6-2. I'm going to make it 7-2 with this win against Washington. In reality, I expect them to lose one of these games in here, but I can't just point it out looking at the schedule. Maybe that Jets game, but I got the Steelers 7-2 at the halfway mark after a win at Washington. You're up on your pick of the Commanders game.
I think that this is going to be a tough game, only because the Commanders have kind of rebuilt their team a little bit and they brought in a lot of players. But I'm sticking with this at this halfway point. They're going to be 9-0 going into that bye week, or they're coming out of the bye week, right? Is that after or going in? I can't remember exactly. The bye week is around there. But I think they're going to be 9-0.
9-0.
Okay, but I think they're going to be 9-0 right here. And then this is where it's going to take a turn, but they're going to be 9-0.
All right. I'm not going to try to sway you one way or the other, so I'm going to let you pick the next one that's home against the Ravens. What are your thoughts on that game there?
Yeah, I think that this is their first loss right here. I think it's just going to get tough. I think that we do have Lamar Jackson's number, but I think that the Steelers' run kind of starts to go down a little bit here, and I think this is where they get their first loss of the season against the Ravens at home.
Okay, I'm going to give them a loss here too. I think I'm projecting a split through this division. I think the Steelers are going to end up 3-3 in the division with splits against everyone. So I'm going to give the Ravens the win at Pittsburgh. Next up, it is the Steelers go to Cleveland for the Browns. I'm going to give that a win for the Steelers, actually. I'm going to have them winning in Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm giving them a loss here. They're going to go 2 losses in a row here. I think they're going to lose this one. I think that just coming off of some of those easier games, and then we start to get into our division games, I think it's just going to be tough for them. As much as I want to see them win the division, I think they're going to hit a second loss here, and they'll be 9-2 at this point.
Okay, then next up is at Cincinnati. I'm going to give this as a loss here. I think these games are always good, but Cincinnati going to be a good, strong team this year. I'm going to give them the win at home.
Yeah, this is another loss, 3 in a row for the Steelers here.
3 in a row.
3 in a row right here. After 9 straight, I think they're going to hit 3 in a row. It's just going to be tough. This is such a tough schedule.
And 0-3 in the division.
And 0-3 in the division. I think this is what it's going to happen at this point. They're going to be 9-3 at this point. I don't want to see it. It's just the Bengals are such a good team. I think that Joe Burrow is such a talented quarterback, but I just think that, the Steelers have kind of gone through some easier teams, and now we're getting some of the tougher division games. It's just going to be tough for them right here at this point.
So next up is the Browns at home. I'm going to go loss here myself. Now that puts me at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8-5, with 4 games remaining for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think they win this game. I think they've gone 3 losses in a row, and something sparks in them, and they're like, look, we just cannot keep losing right now. I think they win this one at home against the Browns just to try to get something going back for them, and they're at a point where they're 10-3, but I think they win this one.
Okay, now here's a 2. I mean, it just doesn't end in the second half of the season.
Yeah,
they are at the Eagles. I'm going loss. I'm going loss at the Eagles.
Yeah, I agree. Every time the Steelers play in Philadelphia, it is so tough for them for some reason to even just pull off a win. So I'm going with a loss here. Jalen Hurts is probably going to have an MVP caliber season. They just added Saquon Barkley. It's going to be a very interesting duo right there with them two. And I just don't foresee the Steelers winning. I think that, it's going to be disappointing to see Kenny Pickett laugh at us, but I think we're going to lose that game against the Eagles.
So then it's at Ravens. At 8-6, I think they can pull this out here. They'll win this one to go to 9-6 on my schedule. You're at 10-4 at the moment.
I think they lose this one. Again, I think they lose
both
to the Ravens.
There's 1-4 in the division so far from you.
Yeah, I think they lose this one to the Ravens as well. I think, they're just this stretch is just going to be so tough for them over the second half of the season. And I think this is just a year where Lamar Jackson has our number, even though we have his. But I think that, he's going to beat us twice this year. I think, the Steelers are going to end up 10-5 at this point.
Mm-hmm. Next up's Christmas Day on Netflix against the Chiefs. What do you got? What are you thinking?
This is a loss. This is just a loss. The Chiefs are just too talented. Patrick Mahomes is just phenomenal. As much as you want to, win at home on Christmas Day and give everybody a nice little Christmas gift, I just do not see the Steelers beating them. You want to see it happen, but I think they're losing this game as well.
So maybe the Chiefs have everything wrapped up, but like I try to remember traditionally, I don't think they're a team that really sits guys even after they got the division wrapped up. So
I don't think so either.
I think I'm with you there. It's going to be a loss. Taking them to 9-7 for me. You're at 10-6. So we got 1 week left. Final game at home. 5 of them at 9-7. They're probably battling for a wild card spot. I think 10-7 is what they need to get to. And then you have them at 10-6, probably comfortable, but you never know. At 10-6, you might not make the playoffs here. I think I have the win. Oh man, I got them winning. Finishing out 10-7.
I have them losing.
I
have them losing and ending 10-7 and ending 10-7. I just think that it's just going to be such a tough stretch. They're just going to win that home game against the Browns, and I just think that the division is going to have our number. This second half is going to be so tough for them, but I think they can have a winning season and be 10-7. But I just don't know if it's going to be good enough for a wild card spot.
That season you got here is very similar to that one they had a couple years ago, where everything was going well until it wasn't, and they fell through.
Yeah.
In this scenario, week 1 of the playoffs, you got them winning their wild card game, or were they going home week 1 of the playoffs?
If they make the playoffs, is that what we're saying?
I'm sorry. Yeah, if they make the playoffs.
If they make the playoffs, I think they'll win the wild card game.
Okay.
But I don't see them going any further after the wild card game.
Yeah, I'm going to end them at that wild card game. I don't have any faith in Tomlin's ability to win the playoffs anymore. So if they make it at 10-7, I have them losing that week 1 game. Maybe they'll get lucky and they're playing the Ravens, who's a team that they have had luck but they have had success against in the past.
Yeah.
And maybe they can win one there. But if it's not someone like the Ravens or someone else, maybe one of these divisional teams is just really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have them done in the wild card round. You got a divisional game for them. You're saying that's going to be a loss there too?
And yeah, I think that once they get to the division game, that's it. I think they'll win a wild card game and they'll bring some hope to Pittsburgh that, okay, they're back in the playoffs, but whoever they play in that second round after the wild card, they're not winning that one. I think that they'll go 10-7, have a winning season, but I think their losses will be cut short in that second round of the playoffs if they make it through.
Okay, so neither of us have them in the conference championships. So who will be there instead? Who you got as the 4 conference championship teams?
I think it's going to be, for the AFC, I think it's going to be Chiefs and Bills. And then for the NFC, I think it's going to be the Eagles and 49ers.
Okay, now I am going to go. You just can't go against the Chiefs. So I'm going to go Chiefs. And I'm going to go Dolphins.
Okay.
Switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go. Wow. I'm going to go silly. I'm going to go Packers for 1.
Okay.
We're going to have a rematch.
It's going to be a rematch.
You know what? Let's have fun. I'm going to go Cowboys.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep. Uh-huh.
All right.
And then I'm gonna go Super Bowl time. You got in the Super Bowl.
Bills and fucking who the Bills and Eagles Super Bowl.
Okay. I'm gonna go Chiefs and Cowboys.
Okay.
And then who you got winning it all?
I have the Bills winning it all this year.
Bills. Josh Allen gets his title.
Josh Allen gets his
love to
finally
see
gets
it.
his Super Bowl ring and gets over the hump of
I'm
beating
gonna go-
Patrick Mahomes.
I'm gonna go 3-peat.
Oh shit. Okay.
Chiefs. So that's what we got. Chiefs for me,
Who
Bills
do you
for
got them
you.
playing? Who do you got them playing? Who do you got them playing?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I already said that. Cowboys.
Oh, Cowboys. Sorry, I didn't hear you. That's my fault. That's my fault.
Yeah,
You did
yeah,
say
yeah.
that, but I forgot.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. Cowboys. Okay,
Uh-huh.
three-peat. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So Chiefs, Bills are two Super Bowl champs. I think both of those teams are up there in the odds. Probably, I bet Chiefs are number one. Wouldn't be surprised if Bills are number two, but maybe they're definitely top five, I'd say. But
Yeah.
that's how the season's going. Everyone that's watching, if you went through that and you saw how this goes, you can come back here. It's going to be coming out September 5th. Come back here
Mm-hmm.
in February 5th. See what it looks like.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
See what it looks like.
Put your bets
Yeah,
in.
you're welcome.
Put your bets
That's
in.
right.
Put your
That's
bets in.
right. That's right. That's right.
All right. Any other things you want to talk about for this Steelers NFL previews episode? Anything special that you don't think we've covered that you want to get off your mind?
No. Well, I don't know if you just saw it today. I think it was yesterday. Cameron Hayward just got a contract extension. I don't know if it was yesterday or today.
Yeah.
So I
Earlier
saw
in
that
this,
just happened.
this is a two-part. This is a two-part recording, so I actually talk about his contract in the first part, and then we have a resolution here in the second part. He has now signed the 3-year extension. How about this for a final topic? If things go the way we both have it, I have them 10-7 losing wild card. You have them 10-7 winning wild card, losing divisional round. Does Tomlin come back for next season at those in those scenarios? Mine, I think he's gone. Yours, I think it's up to him. He might still want to leave, but I think if they go 10-7, lose the wild card, I think Tomlin's moving on.
I think he's going to stay. I think he's going to stay because I think he wants these guys to win. I think he really wants to try to get a Super Bowl win again for these guys. And then I think if he comes back and wins one, I think he'll just retire at that point. But I think he's going to come back until he can win one again with these guys. I think that's his end goal, I believe. I think he's going to stay until he can try to win again.
He might want it, but I mean, at some point, the Steelers got to put their foot down, right? I mean, you can't be talking about how you're trying to win one if you're still losing these wild cards. If he loses another wild card game, I just don't think you can bring him back, especially when you're probably going to be looking for a quarterback soon, unless Fields turns out to be the answer. I don't think that's the case, though. But this purgatory of picking outside of the top 10, but like not doing well in the playoffs, it's got to run at some point. We got to move on. I think you got to switch it up at least. I know you can always end up worse, but you're going to end up like the Bengals and have a coach come in and make some success, get them to a Super Bowl again. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how this season goes because I think that after that Colts game last year, I think it was a big awakening for him. And just to see how this offseason has gone with all the new coaching pieces and hirings they brought in, new pieces, weapons and stuff they brought in for players and things like that. I think it's gonna depend on this season because I really think it was an awakening for him, after that Colts loss.
Yeah, but I mean, your season, look at your later season lines. You have the Steelers losing 8 of their last 10 games. And you think that the Tomlin's going to be coming back at that? I don't think he can survive that. It's happened before.
Look at the strength of that schedule, though. I mean, do you see how tough that is? You have all 6 of your division games at the second half of the season, you have the Chiefs, you have the Eagles. I mean, that is like probably the toughest stretch any team could go through. I mean, when have any of us seen where they play the second half of the season? It's just all division games. It doesn't happen.
But I mean, what would Tomlin say if you brought that up to him as an excuse? He would.
I mean,
his
he
whole
would say
mantra and
he would
everything,
say the standard is a standard. He'd say the standard is a
Exactly.
standard. You know. Yeah.
So
You're right.
if you
No, you're
start
right.
10 or if you start 9-0 and you
You're
end up
right.
10-7, something's gonna happen. I think something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
at that
No,
point.
you're right.
So I think
You're
in either
absolutely right.
scenario, he's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you.
Uh huh.
I think he'll be back
Yep.
though. I do. I think he'll be back.
Uh huh. That is the Pittsburgh Sports Saviors NFL or Steelers NFL season preview. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes.
I'll see you.
I'm so happy football's back is all. I'm happy.
Football.